Hello, everyone, and welcome to How to Change Any Habit in 30 Days. I'm Pete Tansley, and I'm going to be hosting the webinar today on basically how to create new habits and new lifestyles to stick in your life. If you haven't already, I'd love to connect with you, and thank you for joining me on this webinar. I'd love for you to connect with me on either Facebook or Instagram. I post lots of tips up there and links to recipes and new events such as future webinars. So please do, if you haven't already, take the next 20 seconds just to click on these links or to enter these links in to connect with me so we can chat on these two great sites. So let's talk about why we want to focus on habits and why it's important. Often I see in my line of work as a trainer, see people who focus a lot on the outcome goal. Let's say losing 10 kilograms or 20 pounds for the Americans possibly watching, but that's a great outcome goal, to lose that amount of weight. But I want to touch on a story about why we need to focus on habits, okay? So there has never been an age really in which you could get so much done so fast. There also has never been an age in which we're so overwhelmed with information and things to do and so overloaded with emails and things to read and watch and, so stressed just by the incredible demands in our lives. And for most people, I know a lot that I talk to, work is just a constant stream of emails, of news, of meeting requests, of phone calls and messages, of papers and notes and files and more meetings. The day starts with emails, a full inbox, and ends with an inbox just as full. And each email is a request for your time, for your attention, for stuff, for time that you don't really have to give out. So I've heard one person quoted as, "We're drinking from a fire hose of information with no idea on how to reduce the flow." So that's pretty stressful, okay? And it's even quite wasteful. If we stop to think about it, it's how we want to spend our lives. Sorry, it's not how we want to spend our lives if we think about it. So I think the key is finding some calm in the chaos. So what's the alternative to this overload, Is it the extreme of building a house in the woods and shutting ourselves off from society and modern technology? It's probably not quite that extreme. But I think a middle ground is needed. One where we can still have lots of information at our fingertips and still get lots done, have lots of instant communication when we want it, and still get things done quickly. But somewhere where we can choose how much we consume, okay? Almost a simpler life, but one where we actually achieve and accomplish more things at a faster rate, okay? So I think the solution lies in setting limits to how much we consume and do, okay? And also by having laser sharp focus on the things that are important, which are probably a few things at most that are really, truly important on any given day or week or month, instead of everything at once, okay? So picture a life where you have a fairly peaceful day, stress is minimal, where you're able to focus on your work and actually move forward in the areas you want to move forward in, okay? So imagine a day where you only do a few tasks, but those tasks are super important, and once they're done, they propel you 10 times further forward, okay? It might sound idyllic, but I think it's definitely achievable, okay? And we're going to share some of those tips today. It really comes down to making choices. And one of those is about simplicity. I'm a really big believer in simplicity. After going the extremely opposite end, I think being the less is more. The more simple, the better. My life, I know, is much more simple when I simplify it. It's better when I simplify it. So many times I've tried to focus on doing 20 things at once. As a business owner, I've tried to grow the business. I've tried to take on new team members. I've tried to introduce new programs. In my personal life, I've tried to introduce 5 new health habits every week, new supplements, new regimes, 2-hour workouts, sleeping this amount, drinking this potion. In my personal life, I've taken another dozen things which I've tried to achieve, and already I've probably rattled off close to 30 things that I've tried to change overnight at once. And the common story here is New Year's Eve, okay? January 1, everybody wants to revolutionize their life. They want to double their income or triple their income. They want to halve their body weight. They want to spend more quality time with their significant other or their creator or their animals or nature. They want to do all these things at once. And the first 2 weeks are fantastic. They're running, they've stopped smoking, they're not drinking, they're catching up, they're prioritizing, they're sleeping, they're planning their days. But what happens come February 1? Or worse, July 1? I'll share some stats with you later, but I know with myself when I've tried to change too much, I've stuck at none of those things. Okay, none of those new habits have actually stuck around. So the goal today is to share how to change your life, yes, in multiple different areas, but how we're going to take a step back so then you can take 10 steps forward. Okay? Simplicity is the key here. Your life is better when you cut down on noise, when you cut down on things to do, and enjoy the things you love. Your work will be better when you cut out the distractions, when you stop doing so many things and start focusing instead on the critical few which project you forward. If you work for somebody else, if it's not your business, you might be pigeonholed here a little bit, but perhaps you can share some tips with your boss on simplifying. Okay? Simplicity can mean many things. For some, it means going back to the basics. For others, it makes delegation more of a priority. For others, it just means having a crystal clear focus on one or two things at a time. But the key is in simplicity to do less, not more, but to achieve more because of those choices. Okay? So simplicity boils down to two things. Identify what's critical in whatever thing you're trying to change, and then to eliminate the rest. It'll make you happier, less stressed, and the reason you're here, it will move you forward in any area of your life. So let's get started. Simple is best. No matter what skill or habit you're trying to change, the more simple, the better. So this is an immensely important idea. By focusing on less, it helps you to achieve more. Now, the concept is not new, nor did I invent this concept at all, okay? Many of the world's top change experts, coaches, and achievers have used this method to facilitate more change in their own lives and perhaps those that they have an audience to. I've heard a few TED Talks on this and some great books on this exact same concept. So I'm definitely not claiming I invented this process. There's a fantastic book called The Power of Less, and it's a prime example. The author Leo Babauta, over the last 2 years, the guy has gone through some pretty remarkable changes, but I'll tell you how he's done it in a moment. But what he's done in 2 years, he's quit smoking. He's lost 40 pounds or 20 kilos, just in 2 years, remember, 24 months. He went from a non-runner, he was very out of shape, and now he's run multiple marathons. He became a vegetarian. He tripled his income. He wrote a novel and a non-fiction book, and he wasn't a writer before that. He eliminated his consumer debt, and he has 6 kids. I can't even begin to imagine a house with 6 kids. And for those people who like to use, as justifications for their inactions, I think people saying, oh yeah, but I've got X amount, 1, 2, 5, or 6 in Leo's case, children at home who demand my attention. Now, being a stay-at-home dad, stay-at-home mum, stay-at-home parent is probably the most challenging job in the world because you're the CEO of the family. You've got so many things to look after. I'm not an expert on this, but Leo definitely is with 6 kids, okay? That's definitely not a justification for not taking action on this stuff. How did he do it, and how do I encourage you to make anything a new habit is by focusing on less. The only way you'll form long-lasting habits is by doing less. Think again of perhaps yourself or someone that you know, January 1, who sets these big audacious goals every year, but by July 1, none of them are cemented. This isn't because you're a bad person. You have great intentions, but the process is flawed. By focusing on one habit at a time, 1 month at a time, you'll be able to focus all your energy on creating that one habit. So one of the guidelines to creating lifelong change or a lifelong habit in 30 days is to select one habit. That's only one habit at a time. You can choose any habit. I suggest you choose whatever will have the biggest impact of your life. So let's say your goal, to use our example, is 10 kilograms. So you're currently not exercising or not anything consistently. There are plenty of habits you will need to add in. Consistent exercise, getting enough sleep, drinking enough water, preparing your meals in advance, and choosing 80% whole foods, for example, could be one of your rules. So there's many habits that make up all of those things, right? Even just packing your gym bag is a habit in itself to get to the gym tomorrow. or setting the alarm for 5 a.m. to get to the gym tomorrow. All those things are new habits. So that 10 kilogram goal might have 30 or 20 or a dozen habits associated with it. But you are to select only one habit. So if you list out the habits that are associated with that goal, let's say the most important one is getting up an hour earlier every single day. So that's the habit, okay? So that's the one habit that's going to have the biggest impact on your life. Now you want to write down your plan. Now you will need to specifically state what your goal will be each day, and when you do it, what your trigger will be or who you will report to. I'll come back to this in a moment. You need to post your goal publicly. This is one of the rules. So your goal of getting up at, let's say it's 5:30 a.m., you need to tell as many people as possible that you are trying to form your new habit of getting up at 5:30 every single day. Why are you doing that? To get to the gym, to have a good workout, to have a shower, and to have a breakfast in that additional hour of getting up early. I suggest an online forum. So by posting this goal publicly, there's so many online forums. In fact, there's even ones that I've researched that are specifically built up for creating new habits. Okay, so there's no excuses not for doing this. You might be on a weight loss program that has this. I know at our gym we have private groups where our clients will, after this, be posting their habits to the group every single day as part of their check-ins. But you could email it to co-workers or family and friends, or otherwise get the word out to a large group on Facebook, on LinkedIn. Find a forum group, find an online forum. You might have to pay for some of these, but it is an integral part of the program. You need to report on your progress daily if possible. So fitness goals are easy to do daily. Even if your goal isn't to work out daily, let's say your goal is to work out 4 times a week, you might make your goal to move every single day. So if you're not lifting weights or running sprints or working hard in a class, perhaps you're stretching for 30 minutes. So make it a daily progress. Let's say it's something you have to do once a week, then what habits are associated with that you can report on daily? Because in my opinion, a habit that's done once a week isn't as easy to change because you're not focusing on that daily action, that daily focus, okay? Each day you have to report back to that group. You have to tell the same group of people whether or not you succeeded at your goal. And there are a few rules, only a few, you need to follow to make this challenge a success. If you follow these rules, it would be really hard not to have formed a habit by the end of 30 days. So rule number 1 is to do only one habit at a time. Do not break this rule. Leo, with his list of things that he did in 2 years, chose one habit per time per month. Smoking was one. Cutting out meat was another, which I don't agree with, but to each their own. Running was the next one. He focused on one at a time. Of course, after 30 days, it's a habit, so it's going to keep going. Then you simply layer a new habit on top of that. So it's sort of like an accumulation effect. So let's say month number 1 is getting up at 5:30. After 30 days, that will be a habit if you do it daily. Month number 2, it might be to eat a protein-rich breakfast. So that's for month number 2. Month number 3, it might be to drink 2.5 liters of water a day. By month 3, guess what? You're probably halfway through to your outcome, but we're only doing this by focusing on one habit at a time. I've tried both ways, okay, by focusing on one and by focusing on many. In my experience, there's a 100% failure rate for forming multiple habits at once. So stick to this rule. You high achievers out there listening to this right now, you guys are thinking, yeah, that might work for Pete and those guys, but for me, I'm going to try 20 things. I'll be fine. Trust the process, one at a time. Choose an easy goal. Later, when we're good at habit changes, you can choose something harder. But for now, let's say that goal is to get up earlier. If you currently sleep till 7:30 a.m., make your goal for month 1 7 a.m., 30 minutes earlier. That's enough time. I'm guessing you have a shower already. That's enough time to wake up, have a glass of water, do your 5-minute warm-up, and then get a 20 or 25-minute workout in your living room. Okay? Start with an easy goal. If it's to start running or start doing push-ups, start with an easy goal. 2 reasons for this. 1, it helps the habit stick. But two, I want to tell you a story about a man attempting to floss his teeth. So a few times a year, every year for the last several years, he'd set a goal to floss his teeth daily. And it'd always start the same way. For 7 days, 8 days, he'd be brilliant. He'd floss them every morning, every night, spend 5 minutes at a time, and feel amazing with his fresh, glossy, stuff-free teeth. There's no stuff in between his gums and his teeth. But what happens after that time is, well, he gets a bit lazy and he thinks, well, I don't have the 5 minutes right now to do it. I'll do it tonight. He gets to tonight, he thinks, oh, I've got to get to bed before midnight tonight. I'm going to brush my teeth and go straight to bed. Then he changes his tact. He chooses an easy goal. He says to himself, once a day, I will floss one tooth. Here's the psychology of that. The decision to floss one tooth versus every tooth is so much easier. Everybody can floss one tooth because it takes, 20 seconds, a minute maximum. But here's what happens. When he got going every day with one tooth, he would do the rest of them. He would finish it off. So choosing an easy goal helps you stick to the habit. Also subconsciously, because we know it's easier to start. And once you get going, you can modify it to not one tooth, but all of the teeth. So for now, do something you can do every day. Whether it's 10 minutes of walking, even if your goal is 2 hours, it doesn't matter. Start easy, start small. Choose something measurable. You should be able to say, without fail, whether you were successful today or not. A simple yes or no. Did I take my fish oil today? Yes or no. Did I get up at 5:30 today without snoozing? Yes or no. It needs to be a clear, definite answer. If you choose exercise, you can choose minutes or calories, but whatever your goal, have a measurement. Okay? 20 minutes of exercise daily is a great example. Be consistent. This is where, if possible, you want to do it at the same time every day. Our bodies are very habitual. We like things done at a consistent time. So where possible, make it the same time every day. If you're going to exercise, do it at 7 a.m. or 6 p.m. every day. It becomes, a habit that's much more likely to stick around if it's consistent. Report daily. This has already been mentioned, but instead of checking in every 2 or 3 days, you'll be way more likely to be successful if you report daily to your mentor or to the online group. This has been proven so many times in the fat loss challenges that I've run. Those who post daily with their meals and their habits and how their progress is going get way better results. And the high achievers, you can't just post when it's a yes, you also have to post when it's a no. Okay, you have to be 100% honest and report back daily. One of the reasons this works, in my opinion, is because we don't want to let others down. Accountability works. We're sometimes happy to let ourselves down by not doing our 20 minutes of exercise, but when it comes to somebody else, we're way less likely to pike because we don't want to be seen as a quitter in other people's eyes. Keep a positive attitude. Expect setbacks now and then, but note them and move on. Expect days where you don't do your habit. But if you maintain 7 out of 10 or 8 out of 10 or hopefully 9 out of 10 times that out of every day you reach your habit, you will succeed. It's the daily focus, the clarity of one goal that is the winning formula. I always say, you've either got a problem or a crisis, okay? Everybody listening and watching this is either about to have a problem, is in the middle of a problem, or has just gotten out of a problem. And every couple of problems is a crisis, okay? So never expect smooth sailing. The only people without problems or crises are those in the graveyard, okay? So expect these things to happen. Another reason we keep an easy goal to begin with. There's no embarrassment in this challenge. If it's 2 or 3 or 10 consecutive days of no's, it doesn't matter. But stay positive. Tomorrow is a new day. Remember to focus most importantly on just one single habit at a time. I've witnessed people go from 40 kilograms overweight to having an 8-pack sitting down by focusing on this. They don't change everything drastically overnight. They change 1 month, one habit at a time. And it works. So research has shown that when people try to change a single behavior at a time, the likelihood that they'll retain it for a year or more is better than 80%. That's pretty high. When someone tries to change 2 behaviors, their chances of success are less than 35%. When they try 3 behaviors or more, their success rate plummets to less than 5%. 80% success rate by focusing on 1 goal, 35% success rate by focusing on 2 goals, and less than 5% success rate when focusing on 3 behaviors or more. I've even worked with elite athletes who are disciplined, organized, driven, motivated, who can't change multiple habits at once. This works for all types of people. So is it any surprise then really that when people try to massively overhaul their lifestyle, that the changes simply don't stick? Of course it isn't when you look at those stats. But let's be honest. Most of us aren't known for being patient. We want results yesterday. We want them so damn fast that we're impatient they don't happen overnight. And that goes for me as well. I want to be in shape yesterday. Okay? I want to get results as soon as possible, but you have to trust the progress. Habit-based goal setting works and is permanent if you follow the formula. So right now, you're going to stop what you're doing. You're going to pull over if you're driving. You're going to turn off your phone, put it on airplane mode right now. You are going to choose one habit to change. Drink more water, get to bed at 9 p.m., wake up at 5:30 a.m., move for 20 minutes a day, stretch for 5 minutes a day, whatever it is. Choose one habit you are going to change. It could even be as simple as cutting out one crappy meal per day and replacing it with a healthy breakfast. So there you go. Start the day with a healthy brekkie every day. That could be your habit. Get out a pen and paper. Don't pretend to do this or say you're going to do it later or say you're too busy to grab that pen and paper. This is the next 12 months, 10 years, 30 years of your life, guys, we're making a habit for. So go and do it right now so I know and the universe knows that you're taking this seriously. Go and do it. Don't hesitate. Go through the steps. Number 1, make sure it's measurable. Is this habit measurable? Yes or no? Is it easy? If you're currently doing no exercise and your goal is to work out for 2 hours a day, that's not easy. Start with 20 minutes. We'll get to 2 hours if that's what you want. Start small. Are you able to be consistent with it every single day, or at least 5 or 6 days of the week? Where will you post this? I want you to post this publicly, in a group, to a mentor, join a group, join a club. There's so many online now, guys. There's no excuses not to post this publicly, and you need to report daily back on your new habit. And have a PMA, a positive mental attitude. The only place where problems don't exist is in the graveyard. Remember that. You're either about to be in a problem, you're in a problem, or you've just gotten out of a problem. So this habit should not be derailed by problem or crises that will happen in the next 30 or 60 days. So that's it. That's my formula for permanent change. I've kept it simple with those steps. You can apply this to any single habit that you like. Choose one at a time. Reflect on it daily. At the end of the month, you can reset for a brand new habit. Now, we're going to open up this webinar to Q&As. Please post your questions. I'll answer them publicly. And chances are, if you've got a question, somebody else is thinking the same thing, like my primary school teacher used to say. So don't be shy or bashful. Ask the question because I guarantee somebody else is thinking the same thing. Let's go now. I'm going to unmute you all and open it up for Q&A.